So team, welcome to the first day for our Selenium live training, May 5th batch 2014. What we're going to do today is start with a fresh project, right? So when I say project, the intent is very simple team. As part of my lectures, the way I present things is to take a project and show you how we're going to do testing automation on it in a real life scenario. All right. And as part of that, I will also be training each of you. So, what is very important for you is to look closely at how I'm doing it and repeat the same to practice. I am going to do it on one application. What you would do is repeat the same on the same application and or on a similar application in the same methodology. And when you get to your interviews or when you get to your real life projects, you can use the same methodology. In fact, when you go back and look at all the tutorials that are there as part of the video catalog that you have, a collection to over 100 hours of rich content on Selenium, JUnit, Core Java, WebDriver, Grid, automation frameworks to a great extent, you will see the same approach being followed. All right. So it's a all project based approach for you to get hands on expertise, for you to get immense amount of confidence. Now, as part of this project, it is about a 5 day schedule. So when I say 5 day, about 5 hours together that I will use to show it. Do you think that we could complete a real life project in 5 hours of effort? If you are really solid and if it's a small application, yes. But what happens is typically your scope is much larger in your real life project, and you will go very fine at a very minute level to make sure that everything is correct in different zones, right? And then this constant maintenance. So that's why the scope gets increased. But conceptually, this is the effort that we're going to take to develop this project. What will happen after this first week where we complete the first project? The next week onwards, we will get into our second project, which is a real life project which needs testing, and you will be part of a divided teams. You'll be all be divided into specific teams, and as a team you will be doing live project at your end under our guidance, where me, Manoj, and probably one more technical member will be helping you, assisting you all through the process. All right, all sounds good so far, team? Great. So let's move forward with what we have scheduled for the day one. So as you can see, team, I'm going to talk about the application and the test, and I'm going to talk about what we're going to do at a high level as part of our automation plan for this week. And let's get started with simple automation using IDE. Again, are we supposed to use IDE? Why can't we to go to Core Java directly or use Eclipse and so on? Fair enough. But I want you to take your baby steps first. Now, before I get started, I definitely want to be able to make sure that, sorry, team. The reason I had to cancel the session last week also is because my throat isn't really well, so that's the reason. But again, right now I'm assuming that it should be fine. Let's hope that it goes so well. All right, team. So let's get to live training, and here is where. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Selenium Bite Size Videos, December. The prerequisites of anyone watching the videos before you get into this project was for you to have watched the first 3 chapters under this specific URL. So I'm going to take this URL. For those of you viewing the video, you will always be able to um, look at the video and get the URL or navigate from the website as I showed. Chapter 1. Oh no, not this URL. I'm so sorry, team. I keep getting confused myself because there's so many. And just to let you know, team, we're trying to put all of these things together in a new website where it's already done. We are testing it. We want to make sure that everything is fine and then deploy it so that you can start watching the videos on your mobile devices. Here you go. Send to all. So here, prerequisite to before you get started with this project is you would have watched the chapter 1, which talks about IDE, how Selenium IDE works fundamentally, the automation basics, all about element identification, team, this is almost similar to what is called as descriptive programming in QTP or object identification. It is very, very important for you to watch these 3 videos. Okay. So sorry, team. Then chapter 2 is the core Java tutorials. For anyone who has no exposure to programming, knows nothing about ABCs of coding, all right, who has very, very minimal computer skills, these tutorials are built to make you know the fundamental of core Java that is enough for you to survive well and do well in a Selenium automation project. All right, that is what it is. These core Java tutorials are not made with the intent that I want to make someone as a Java developer. No, these are made with an intent that I want someone to learn the fundamentals of core Java for Selenium usage, automation usage. And then Selenium WebDriver tutorials using a little bit of data driven framework concept. That is it. You can continue to go advanced, watch the other videos, but that is optional, as this is what you will get to do in the project as well. Now, team, let me ask a very quick question. I can look at answers as in that come out as yes or no to get a high level idea of how many of you have gone through at least 70% of the videos that I had shown. I'm not saying 100%, but at least 70%, like chapter 1, chapter 2. How many of you, team? Those of you who are not members, I know I extended today's session also as free demo because a lot of people had requested as they missed last week. I want to make sure that you, once you get access, you will have to it. But I see that, wow, many of you, at least 25, 30 of you, 30, 40, 35, 40, almost half of the audience, there are about 90 participants right now, um, who have watched the videos. And in fact, someone has already got an interview as well. That's great. So you watched till keyword driven. There you go. Thank you, Sanjay. All the best for the interview, which went great. I'm so glad. So, team, trust me, honestly, my sincerest feedback to you all. Not just it's me, my course. If you go through this course and the way I show you, I will guarantee you will succeed. You may have to repeat the course 2 times, in the sense, do it along with me the way I show you, and then go back and watch the videos again. About 1 to 2 months of effort, and I will guarantee that you'll do very well in your interviews. There is no question about it. All right, that's not because I know it, that's just the participants, and there are thousands who get trained. So this is just the participant feedback. All right, excellent. So now that you've watched this, let's get into the first project. So what is all about the first project and how are we going to work? So team, no more of PowerPoints, no more of theory. All practicals, all on the tools going forward. Now, whatever I would want to do, I want to save it as an Excel sheet so that we all understand. In fact, what I'm going to do is I will quickly open up another drive, and here I'm going to create a folder, team, so that all the scripts, all the things that we do, we're going to start putting it in there. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call this as Selenium. Did he already create this? Let me see. Not sure. I remember last week we wanted to, or we did. I just want to make sure that live project 14th Jan. This is no, I don't think we did, right? So Selenium, organizing your content. All that you do is very important, team. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. Selenium. I'm going to call this as May 5, 2014 training. Right? So everything that we'll do, I'm going to put it in here, and we will share either this a folder directly with you, or we'll create a dump of it and put it there. In here, I'm going to create a quick spreadsheet. I'm not doing it in Microsoft Excel directly because it's the same content. At least this way I can easily share it. So this is project 1, automation plan. So what's my automation plan, team? At a high level, at a high level, I want to talk about what is it that we plan to do. All right. Basic information. For example, what is the application under test? All right. Or I'm going to call it as shortly AUT. Okay. Then we will talk about scope, or let's talk about in scope and out of scope. Then I'm going to talk about information like start, date, end date. Okay, and owner or automation QA, or what, QA automation engineer who is working on it. So, what is the automation under test? Or sorry, application under test? What do we want to do? What is out of scope, and so on. Okay, at a high level, this is the automation plan that we're creating. The reason I have a spreadsheet team is it is easy for us to put everything in a neat, simple format that is easy for us to understand. And I kind of give a little emphasis to the aesthetics of whatever we do. So anything that we do, team, we will kind of put it into some kind of a look and feel. And I'm going to merge these four columns together. Merge cells. Merge. Merge. What happened? It didn't merge. Oh, it merged, but it didn't do a center align because that's what typically Word does. And let's give this a different background color. I'll not go too jazzy on it. uh, Dark blue and very light gray. All right, there you go. And I'm going to put all of this in a small grid. All of you with me, team? You're following what I'm doing? Everything that we do, number one, we should be organized. It should be easy for what purpose? What purpose? Documentation. And the skill, the level of documentation is one of the number one fundamental skills that every QA engineer should possess. Why? Because at the end of the day, your document does talk a lot. Okay, you have to communicate with others, you have to be able to pass information in the right manner, and so on. Now, let's go to the automation and the test. To be able to properly execute this kind of a project, I wanted to take an application that will have some kind of a flow of information, that will have some kind of a processing and so on. So I just wanted to experiment and see what I could find. One of the things that I found is this, not things I found, but I was looking at something like retirement calculator. Do you see this in the search history? And I found the first link as the Wells Fargo retirement calculator. You see this? So this is the application that we will use to test. Okay, so let's go back to our data driven frame, sorry, automation plan, and put that here. In fact, what I'll do here is I will write something else here. I'll say about the AUT, about the automation application under test. And here I'm going to say this is a retirement calculator for Wells Fargo customers slash visitors. So anyone visiting Wells Fargo as a website are able to use this feature to find out what kind of a retirement planning they could do. Fair enough? Now, what is it that we want to automate or keep in scope out of it? So let me give you a quick walkthrough of what this application is, how it looks, and what we will try and automate. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is to know as much detail about the application as you need. In your real-time project, this is where your maximum amount of effort will go. Not just this part, but related parts of it. What is that part? Your skill of the functionality or the domain of the application. Okay, the better you know about it, the better you are as a QA engineer. Because if you don't know the functionality in and out, you can never point a finger and say this is correct and this is not correct, right? Only if you know exactly how the application is supposed to behave, you could have the authority to comment and say this is correct and this is not correct. Right now, I'm giving you a quick overview of the application functionality, post which I will talk about what will be in scope. Sounds good, everyone? So far, all good what we're doing? All right, excellent, team. So let's go forward. And again, team, look at it. I'm taking the baby steps, and I want you all to follow with me, be involved with me. No, don't get distracted with any kind of pings or things happening in the side. Give yourself this favor. All right, make sure that you are participating, involved. I'll make sure that you will get through what you want as your career goal. Okay, all right. So this is a very simple retirement plan. What is it? People like you, me, what do? We kind of work and make sure that we earn a proper living to take care of our family, ourselves, our loved ones, and so on. Right? We want to plan for how we live, how we educate our kids, how we bring up, how what kind of a health atmosphere we have, everything, our luxuries, our bucket list of what we wish to do, and so on. Right? At the end, you also may want to look beyond and see what kind of a retirement plan we want. What should I do to retire at a certain date? How much should I be saving today? Or what kind of investments should I make that will get me the results that will help me achieve my goal? That is all your retirement plan at a high level. Again, I have not done it yet, but I know sometime in the near future I might want to. So every one of us, sometime we may get into the situation. So we are the kind of ideal users who can relate with it. Now, what does Wells Fargo as an organization offer? It offers a great free calculator that helps you to input a few sets of information about yourself and get a good output as to what kind of a propositions, suggestions, investment plans, or how you should do about your finances to get to your goals. All right, so let's look at it. So there are two options that you see right in the front page as you log in. And this is, see, I like the site because it's so neatly organized. Immediately, I can skip looking at this content and look at this highlighted one says sign on and get started, or continue without signing on, right? My retirement plan, savings calculator. See, beautifully organized, one single main section, not too much text. Then there are a few other marketing things I don't even want to look at it right now. So for a user who has very little time, he's got the quick option to say, you know what, let's continue without sign on. Yes, they put a note saying that your plan cannot be saved to your online account, not because you're not logged in. But then you may want to say, that's fine. You know what, let's try it out. So a user comes in, goes to the first page and says this is what it is, and typically like anyone else looks at the accept and continue. They'll say, all right, fine, fair enough, I won't even read it, but let me continue. Ideally we all supposed to read a team, but all I'm saying is that this is more of an experiment just to test and see how this application works. So I'm going to accept and continue. All right, there you go. Here comes the savings calculator. So now we have navigated all the way to here. As part of this, you will see that there is my information on the left side, and then welcome to my retirement plan on the right side. And basically, as you input information, we can assume that your retirement plan is going to shape up here. Okay, your personalized retirement savings plan, rather to be more precise. So let's talk about simple things. We're going to do it again with an IDE, but let's talk about current age. Let's say that I'm about 38, and let's say that we want to retire not as late as 67, but let's say 55. Highest level of education, I would say prefer not to say. Household emergency savings, let's say that we've put in about, we want to keep about $50,000 aside anytime as emergency savings, something unexpected that comes to you, or so on. Current annual income, let's say that we put it about $85,000. All right, not really getting into details of lot of other things like what is this, how about these options, these check boxes. I'm trying to give the basic information. Current total save, let's say that we saved about 20,000 so far. And current monthly contribution, what am I contributing towards my savings going forward? Let us say that I'm doing about 1250 every month, that is going out of my paycheck once a month to my contribution. Now I'm going to click on calculate my plan. Now, it's taking a few seconds. It's giving a pop-up saying that one moment, please. And then it is going and giving me this recommended plan. So what has happened? My information that I entered on the left side is retained and displayed out here, correct? And I also have the option to go and change that information. And then what is the plan that is recommended is right here on the right side. And it gives us the option saying that if you contribute 73% of your monthly income, starting at 5,196 per month, you may receive 9,173 per month at the start of retirement. What does that mean? I think at this current layout, I'm retiring too early or I'm too aggressive. I may want to go and change. You know what? I'll get back to earth, and let's say that I put 60, and see, as soon as I get change my retirement, it's giving me to change the information, update the fields on the left, click recalculate my plan to view your revised plan. See, now it's saying this is grayed out. the display has gone out, and we will recalculate, then it should come back. So I put 60. Let's see, from 5,196, let's see how it comes down to. There you go. See, 40%, 2,862. So it's getting more realistic to be able to get to a retirement in a more realistic manner. So your confidence level of what you think you want to put in here is giving you the output of when and how you could retire. Now, if you continue to scroll down, it will show you a lot of more statistics as to what is your current contribution. All right. And then what is your recommended contribution? What is the gap? $1,600 is the gap that you have to close to get to that 2,800. And then you can retire by the age of 60. So, team, all this that I did so far is about what? One of the most important criteria which we all belong to, and that is the domain, functionality, application overview. Fair enough? At a high level, this is the scope. Sounds good, team, of what we should be talking about. And thanks, Raj. I didn't even, I was, as I said, I am a newbie into this. So you said IRS allows max of $5,500. So thanks for letting me know on it. Again, team, got the idea of what we're trying to take as an application to test? Everyone? Okay, cool. Team, I'm looking at feedback for you from the chat as the question and answers, because very important for me to get a feedback on how it's going. It's very important in the early days, and then we will fly after this. So you got the idea presented in day one. Okay. Now, this is at a high level what we would want to do, correct? Now, let's talk about little in depth. What are the kind of test cases or scenarios we may want to test? Let's talk about that. So give me a test case ID, I'll put one. Test case name, I'm going to put one. And then test case description. What are the kind of things that you may want to test as part of what I just showed you? I'm going to quickly put this here and see how we're slowly developing a whole beautiful, simple automation test plan. Simple, but neatly organized for our purpose. All right. And test case scenarios also merged and center aligned. Let me make sure that this gets saved automatically. This is good for us. Okay. All right, team. I'm not yet looking at the questions or answers, but then I will look at it and then I'll start writing. All right, let me see all the answers that have come. Looks good. Don't we? Okay, let's see. Don't we have? Don't we need to have test cases ready to automate? No, Shilpa, not necessarily. You may come in different situations in an application. Let's say it's a startup, absolute brand new. They have done some random testing, and then they said, you know what? Let's have this ingenious idea of doing automation since we're anyway starting from scratch, and they'll give you this. Let us say that, you know what? Forget about those test cases that have been created. They're too old, and the application has gone through significant changes, and this is a new module. So you have to write test cases from scratch. That's the reason you may not have your QA manual test cases already present. Now, if the application has gone through change, it is new to you, or something that you're planning to do brand new, you will have to write the test cases. You could be an automation engineer, but your fundamental concept and skill of writing test cases can never go away ever. All right, that will go with you till the time you're a software engineer, QA engineer. Thanks, first. When is next most All right, team, let's keep questions very relevant to what we're doing. Anything else, please take it with the sales.elearn team or learn at ITeLearn. That will be able to click on the buttons in the home page. Perfect. Thank you, Saket. Appreciate that. I'm going to put this here and write that down. I'm going to call this TC001 test case name. Let's TC. You know what? Test case name is fine. We don't need anything more. A test case ID is fine. So I'm going to merge the cells and I'm going to copy this. Bear with me as I spend our precious time on the format, as for me this is very critical, right? So test case description, I'm going to call this directly. uh, verify home page buttons. That's the first thing. Next, you need to create test data. So test data creation is an activity team. We will come to, so this is at a high level our automation plan. All right. Uh, in fact, you're right. This is automation plan. I will create a new sheet and I'll call this as test cases. So in the test cases, I'm going to move this there. Hopefully it'll retain the format. Let's see. Okay, pretty much it's retained. And here I'll go and talk about automation steps. Then we'll come to it. Automation steps. So right now I'm just asking you what at a high level. Then we'll come to the steps. So test cases. Next team, what else? What are the other test scenarios that you want to test or you may want to try to automate? That's what we're trying to focus on. Sign in, continue without sign in, input each field item. Okay, TC002. Tahir, I answered your question regarding test data. We'll come to it. Joe, I'm taking your sign in, continue without sign in, input each field. Okay, so I'll say sign in, input. How about basic fields to start with? And then I'll say TC003, sign in, input all fields. All right. How about TC004? No sign in. Okay. Input basic fields. And this way, there's so many permutations and combinations, right? And I'll talk about one more. No sign in, and then input basic fields. Oops. Input basic fields, comma. Modify. What was that criteria? Right. This is something that we will do. Then TC006, verify results. Right. Get carried. Verify test data gets displayed on next page, on third page. So actually fourth page, right? Then there could be so many other things like TC007. In fact, I'm going to copy these couple of this here. And that's why, see team, I'm only going to automate a few test cases, but then in real projects, you'll have to do so much of automation, right? You'll say, do not accept terms. Then what will happen at that time? What kind of page should get so showed? Okay, this is just some other number that we'll give it later. TC007 is, how about verify titles and main headings uh, for each section of all pages as one. And then this is TC0010, do not accept terms. Do you see this? How many different variations? Now let me see if I can look at what others have given. Continue without signing, thank you Gaurang. And then agree and accept, there you go. So most of it is agree and accept. One I said is without agree and accept. Can we do automation testing for only high priority test cases? So Darsh, the decision of the high level testing, I mean, what to automate, what not to automate is a little different, and we'll talk about that towards when we do the live project. Go to the URL, closing the browser. Uh, Go to the URL, closing the browser. Yeah, so Joe, very basic test case, but yes, how, we open the URL and close the URL, right? Check the math. Meg, thank you. This is a good one. See, TC, very important. That's why I want to keep this at the end. TC0008, check the validity of results. Are they correct? Do the numbers add? What is the algorithm, the formula, the logic that is used to give those? At the end of the day, there is no human sitting in the back calculating what you've put and giving you the results, correct? It is a logic, it is a web service that is probably taking all the information, processing it depending on some formulas, depending on some calculation sheets, and giving the information, right? Thanks, Meg. Uttam is saying verify that retirement plan page loads. Yeah, so basic page navigation. Verify it, navigate to another page. Thanks, Dimple. Calculate button. So thank you. Where user need to enter data. Correct. So field verify. So see verify input fields. All right, and then the same I can say TC010 verify with invalid data. What happens when you enter invalid data, right? I think you can only sign in if you are a Wells Fargo customer. Probably, Meg. I'm not sure if you are a Wells Fargo. We've not experimented. And in fact, all of this I'm writing not to say that we are going to automate everything. We will pick a few and start automating them. Should be able to input data like age, savings, yes, so that we checked. What happens when we enter invalid data? What kind of pop-ups are expected? Navigation of submit, verify that navigation right with error. And wow, there are over 30, 40 more. Let me see. Um, Verify when you change the data, the right side is grayed out. Yeah, so see some options like that. Do this text pop-ups come up and so on. Now the good part of this model is we will do partial. You can complete this and do a few more as a practice. All right, same process, follow it and do it. So now how is it that we will automate it? We've talked about what at a high level we want to automate. How is it that we will approach and develop automation steps for a data driven framework? Why am I calling this as a data driven framework team? Anyone? Why are we going to call this whole thing as a data driven framework? Why is it not any other framework? And team, thank you. There's so many other options that have come up. So number one, yes, it has many test cases, which is just simple. Verify buttons are there, verify input fields are there, verify that you enter some value and it shows some results and so on. Correct. So basic automation is there, but it has got a lot of permutations and combinations depending on the information that we enter, the output that we get. Correct. So if a user comes in and enters X, they may get Y. If they enter A, they may get B. So how do we change and see that on all possible criteria this is working? What happens if change information, we go and say I want to retire at 120? I mean, logically does it make sense? No. What happens when a user enters this? Please enter a retirement age that is between 40 and 80 and at least 2 years greater than your current age. All right. So, what happens at that case? What happens if I say my current age is, let's say, 78? It's accepted. What happens if my current age is 79? See, because after 78, you can still retire at 80. That's the plan that's giving. But if you're already 79, they're saying we don't have retirement plans for anyone at 81. So, these kind of a permutations and combinations of data can be done when you have this kind of information um, input data that is changing and your output changing accordingly. Make sense? That is the reason we're giving data driven framework, because the bulk of what we are doing is data sensitive, and that's the reason. Now what's the first thing, team? First step is one, automation plan at a high level. Right, that is a step. Now as we do this, I will also put one column here called status. In fact, what size is this? 14. Status 14, little different color. Right? I hope I'm not being too jazzy, but all right, team. So this is good. Let's see. There you go. Thank you, Manika. Values are not constant. Rosalind. Okay. Your voice is really breaking up. Team, how many of you feel that my voice is breaking up? And also do me a favor, because there are about over 95 participants right now. I just want to make sure that everyone is able to see, hear me fine. Breaking up all through or breaking up when I'm doing certain things on the sometimes. Okay. Is it interrupting significantly with the flow of the sessions? Is it significantly interrupting with the flow of the session? It's okay, Olga. Occasionally. No, thanks. Okay. All right, team. So, because very important for me to get your feedback, these are sessions that your participation is extremely critical. The good part is when you see the video, you will not see these breakages. If you see, please let me know. At least one of the 95 people who are there should let me know that it is also breaking up in the video. Okay. But again, the bad part is you'll have to go through the video. Not necessarily that every one of us have the time to do it. But at least your videos for offline view will not. If it's continuing to be a major issue, let me know. I will try and fix this. I don't know through what, but uh, I'll have to go to Windows, which I would hate right now. So, team, I'm going to continue, but if it's continuing to be a major pain, let me know, please. Sorry, team. So, one is automation plan at a high level. Status, I would say about 75% done. So, our automation plan is done about 75%. What is next? Test is get a overview of application under test. I would say 50%. All the functionality is not done. At a high level overview, we've done. Okay, identify test cases and identify ones to automate. We're not automating everything as phase one. So, what is phase one? Phase one is what I'm showing you this week. Phase two is going to be what you will do as practice continuation later. I'll say that 50% done. What's next, team? What is next? Next will be basic automation of each test case using simple IDE, that is level 1, right? Then 5 is create or transition the main code into Eclipse for WebDrive. Okay, uh, WebDriver JUnit code. That's going to be our next one. 6 will be create test data that will help to automate to execute data driven framework. 7 will be once we create the test data, we will insert logic for reading test data and inserting into application under test as needed. Okay, get get verifications and validations for each test case back into our test results. Then what we will do is ensure usage of functions, all right, parameters and error reports and many other things that we will put in between. Then actually this is not even belonging here. I'll take it out right now. Debug the code and ensure correct working framework. All right, finally execute and capture results. Fair enough. Anything else done out of this so far? No, but this is what we have done so far today. Now if we are all good team, we will go on with the level fourth step, which is to automate few simple IDs, test cases using IDE as a simple one record and done. The other one we will do it more as directly inserting into IDE and so on. All right. You can hear pressure cooker though. That's surprising. There's nothing that's running that way at home. All right, team. For basic automation. So let's take a couple of test cases and decide automate yes or no, basically out here. And we will do it. This one, I'll just say mode. as verify home page button. This I'll say IDE record and run. This will say IDE write your code. Okay. Sign in input basic fields. Sign in input all fields. IDE write your code. Right. Uh, this also, with this we will do directly in WebDriver. So now that you know how we will do it in IDE, we'll do in WebDriver. But team, by now, what I'm assuming is that each of you have gone through the videos that I've mentioned earlier. Okay, if you have not gone through those videos, then you're missing out a major portion. Okay, so go back to the beginning of the video, look at what we've communicated to you. Chapter 1, 2, 3 should have been viewed before you got here. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to open the application in Firefox. Why am I going to open it in Firefox, team? Anyone? Firebug. Firebug, I think, is there already. Let's see, anyways. Yeah, the reason is it will help us to work with IDE. Is something that we will use extensively at work, IDE, in real life projects? Not necessarily, but also sometimes you may want to. Quick deployment, quick automation, simple tests, just as proof of concept, just as a quick starter for yourself. And also sometimes to make sure that the XPath that you write independently and whatever element identification you're doing with CSS or XPath and so on is correct. You will use IDE to verify it, right? So IDE is a base that you should have, not necessarily that you'll work on it 100%. Probably 5%, 10% you may continue to work on it. Now we have visited the home page, my wellsfargobank.com/MRP. And what I will do is I will open up Selenium IDE on the start. So go to tools and get your Selenium IDE. At this time, team, I'm assuming that you've got your latest Selenium IDE. Get your version 2.5.0, please. The reason 2.5.0, because uh, you want to make sure that there is a new feature called select that is added very recently into it also, and always get the latest IDE version. There'll be bug fixes that will change, there will be enhancements that will come to you, and it could be helpful. So if you go to seleniumhq.org, you will see whichever is the latest Selenium. Click on download Selenium, go and see which is the latest release and see the release notes as well. So if you look at the release notes, it will tell you what it is. And now you can see that there is scheduled test for automatic playback at a certain time. This will be beautiful, right? This is something that was anticipated for a long time from Selenium headquarters. It's good that it's coming. It's basically scheduling a test. It is not yet released, but it should be available very soon. Sorry. 2.5.0 is the section where you will see many new things that have come in. Few issues that have been fixed, like icon and select window command and deleting some test cases and so on. Then there are new enhancements, shortcuts for adding new test cases. Then there's something called you can play your entire test suite from any test case, not necessarily from the start. And then most important, select an element for a command by clicking the on the element in the browser window. So if you go to this blog, you will find the details of what it is. They're talking about how you can use almost like something called as an object spy. If someone has related themselves with HP Quick Test Professional or UFT right now, you will know what an object spy is. That is exactly what this will do. So all that I was doing was that crap got recorded here. Do I need it? No. What I'll do, I'll just delete this test case. Rather, right click, insert a new test case, delete the old one. Simple. Okay. And the first thing I would always do, team, is go to the properties and name it. What is this? I'm going to call this as title TC001 is enough, correct? We know it. So what are we trying to do with our test case 001, team? Everyone with me so far? All good? Verify homepage buttons. We're doing this through a record and run. What is this? So first thing is I have to go to the main website. Team, sorry if I'm asking you too many times. If all is good, only reason being My voice sometimes is breaking for some of you. I didn't want that to happen. What am I trying to look for? Okay, I'm trying to look for the URL. Sorry, too many windows here. Automation plan. Copy this. Go to my Firefox. Put this in there. Right. That's the start. Here's my IDE. IDE is here. IDE here and Firefox here. So what am I trying to verify, team? Verify that this button and this button are there. How do we verify? Simpler things is right click and see if there's a command available already with that. Or you can say show all available commands and verify that. Verify text is what is there. Is that what you want? So I show available commands and see if everything else is there. See, what is the text that you're trying to verify? Sign on and get started. So that's basically when you go the mouse over, it's supposed to give the alt as sign on and get started. I don't know why it's not coming up here. But verify text, XPath, image, and alt is this. Oops. For security reasons, your session is set to timeout after 15 minutes. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. This is another test case that you may want to add. Then you can time your test case accordingly. So I close the IE, which I don't need it now. So right click and show all available commands. I'm going to say verify element present. I'm trying to verify that this element is present. Okay. And now as soon as I click that, that should get added on to the command on the IDE. Correct. So team, this is the continuation of where you finished with chapter 1, 2 and 3. Remember that. That's why I'm not going to the specific details of all of these. Again, verify element present that this is there. That's it. Test case 001 done. What will we do now? Let's test it. You may not want to do it too fast. You may put it to just moderate speed and run the test case. So you should be able to see that the page is loaded and each and every command is executed. Sorry team. So your log says if everything is fine, all green means no failures and everything worked fine, right? What is this light green and dark green? What is the difference? Anyone in a Selenium IDE? So Rosalind, I'm sorry if I'm speaking too fast and you're unable to understand, but let me tell you the way I speak. The way I speak is very simple. When I'm talking, that is something very, very important for you to understand, and I emphasize and then I slow down. Sometimes there is small, simple stuff that we really don't need to spend too much time. That is when I speak fast. Or otherwise, I kind of modulate the speed accordingly. All right. So dark green is the step is verified and passed. Green, light green, step executed already completed. Perfect. Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you, Saket, Siri, Gaurang, Nivedita, Tahir. A lot of you already putting that information. Basically, light green, step executed, done. We've just completed it. It is not trying to verify or assert or check anything. Dark green is basically saying that we are trying to verify this. My test case 001 is created. Now, let's talk about a new test case. What is the new test case, team? And team, I want you to guide me to how we will be creating the new test case. In this one, we wanted to do it a little different. How? Sign in, input basic fields, IDE, write your code. What does that mean? No recording. Go to the application and see what are the steps you want. So for this, what I would do, team, is the best thing to do is create one more page and say test case ID, test step ID, and then test step. What is the test step itself? So what does it mean? For TC001, nothing much. So I'll just start with TC002 here and say step 1 is go to home URL. Fair enough. Second step is click on which button? Sign on and get started, right? Sign on and get started. 3, after we click on this, we will see that we have username and password. And then I'll say enter username, enter password for 5 is click on sign on. Click sign on. 6 verify sign on. This is the overall functionality of this, correct? Everyone with me on it? Now, what will happen when I enter something that is not existing? Let's say Karthik 123 and say password. I don't know. I'll just enter something. Okay, it's a sign on. It will not accept because there is no plan like that, and we'll say that we cannot verify your entry. For help signing in, please go forward. Password or help or call. Verify that this text is present. Finally, verify text for incorrect sign on. Now, how do we do it without having to record and run? This is where I want you to help me. What is the step to it? Very simple, team. First, you create your test case, then write your command, put the target, put the value. In simple terms, that is what it is. How we do it in a detailed manner, let's now explore it. Okay, this is not something that I'm trying to train you for the first time on. This is something that is already there that you're supposed to view, and I'm hence showing you quickly how we do it. So the first thing is test case 002. You will say open is the command. You'll just say open the home page. So what is your target? You will say just a backslash. If you want, anytime you feel a little confused, team, refer. There's always, it's never a problem to refer. In fact, see, this is just taking us to the main page because wellsfargo.com, wellsfargobank.com, it ends there. So MRP. Because I referred, I know that I didn't make a mistake here, right? So target is this slash MRP. This is the new target. Now, what is the next command? How do we know what is the next command, team? Go back to believing in your process of what we need to be doing, team. Okay. So at this time, click on sign on and get started. How do we click on sign on, team? What is the command for it? Let's see if click is there. So start typing click. You will see all the commands that come with click, and you can see what each one does as part of the inbuilt reference, right? So click and wait is present. Now, what is target? What is it that you want to click on? Okay, so what the new thing that has come up with the 2.5 version is the select command. So if I click on select, and then if I go to the web page and I keep highlighting any of the elements on the web page, it will get that XPath or whatever CSS or anything to identify that element and put it in the target. So let's say that this is my target, right? I click on it, it will get me what is the value or different options to identify that. Just expand it a little, you'll see. It says XPath equals image is the HTML tag, at alt is the element identifier. All right, what is that one we're using? Element, the attribute for it, and the attribute value for that is this. Why does it use 2 in the square brackets, team? Jay, I'll answer your question in a second. Your question is, I'm totally lost in this session. Help me if you can. I will. All right, I will help you. Index level, that is correct. 2 is index level. So what does it mean? There is already another element with the same attributes before this. How do we know? So first thing is this 2. If I want to know, I click on find. Let's see if it finds it. Does it find it? This is getting highlighted with a green background. I'm not sure if you're able to see. So how do I identify the first one? Do 1 or don't do anything and see if you can find it. In fact, it is not highlighting. It is there somewhere in the code, but it is not visible. That's the only thing. Or it is highlighting and I am not seeing it. Let's see. Move this even further down. Where else it is? It should be somewhere else in the code. That's it. That's the only reason. In fact, if you go to the source code, you should be able to see it. There is no other way. All right. It is not that the tool is making an error. It's not that way at all. So go back here and make sure that the index is put to 2. That basically is identifying which one it is. Make sure you click on find again, and that is the correct element. So now we have performed that step. Let's go physically and click it. What are we doing next? Go back to our plan, enter username, enter password, click sign on. Okay, so what do we do here, team? Enter username. How do we enter username? Command enter text. Is it there? No. What is it then? Send text. Is it there? No. What type is there? All right, so you have type command and you have send keys command. All right, I believe that either of them is fine, but let's stick to type, which is the standard. If you're confused, what is the simple way for you to identify, team? Just do a test. Okay, just open a new test case anytime you're confused, team. Just do a simple record. Click on record, and let's say you enter a user blah 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 tab. See what you get, type, right? Now, so stick with some standard ones. Don't worry about complicating yourself with JavaScript and the mastering IDE. Okay, if you do over 50%, 50% in terms of skill level at IDE, more than enough. But at a WebDriver core Java, that JUnit portion, you have to do over 80%. Oops, team, I didn't even notice the time. It's 8:04. The session was supposed to be for 1 hour. uh, I just flowed with the whole thing, so it went on. Let me quickly finish this one, test case 002, and then we'll end up. Okay, so no more recording for test case here. It is already, oops, what happened? Okay, test case is here. So type is a command, and target. Quickly select, and we can go and click here. It says ID J underscore username, right? So how do you, so after this, what will you type? Let's say that information was Karthik 123 123. Then next command is again type, because that's what we'll do for password as well, right? And what is the identification? How would you do it if you don't have the select method? Right click and say inspect element with Firebug, or just inspect element, and then look at what is the HTML tag. So I'll say two backslashes, input, open square brackets, then take any attribute which is probably unique to it and test it. ID equals single quotes J underscore password. Where am I seeing from? I'm seeing from the HTML code out here. How did I get the HTML code? Right clicked and set inspect element. All right. Open, close single quotes, close square brackets, and what do? Finish it and say blah 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 blah, whatever is the password you're saying. No, you first have to click on find and make sure that that is the right information, because you may write something that may not appear. Is this correct? Yes. Now, is this the only way you will identify? No. How? I can identify you by your first name, but if there's repeating first name, I'll use your last name, or using your cell phone, or your email, or your social security, or your DNA. Right? There are so many ways for you to identify. The easiest and most effective way for you, you do it. This is the easy way for me. I'm going to do it this way. Worst case, you have a select, which will help you to select and just do it accordingly. Right? Sorry, team. It's not good. My throat. Next one, what do? We want to click on what? On the sign on button. How do we click on it? Let's just do select and click on sign on. Or let's cancel, right click, inspect element with Firebug or without, that doesn't matter. Input ID equals continue, or value equals sign on. So I'll just say input input open square brackets at, so team, just to let you know, going back to the fundamentals, and one of the gentlemen asked me a question a few minutes back. Who was that? Jay. Yeah, I'm gonna help you with how, what all I'm trying to do here, why you're getting confused and not everyone else. Value equals sign on, right? So team, I'm just leaving it till here right now. I'm going to say find and see if it is finding this. Let's close these viewers and see if it's finding it. There you go. So now our test case 002 at least is ready to a certain extent, not necessarily all the way through, but the good portion. What happened? Open command didn't open it. TC001. What is the problem, team? Can anyone tell me why did the open command not open? Why did it fail when I'm running this test? Anyone tell me? everything that you need is typically here. But the first thing I did is the URL correct? And then I went to the test case 001 and I checked. Okay, base URL is fine. And then the extension of the domain is also fine. Then I came back here and I saw it's the same thing. So what else could be problem? Command is the same. What could be going wrong here? So team, we're going to wind up in the next 2-3 minutes. I appreciate your patience and bearing with the little extension in the session. So if you observed, which I don't think many of you did, Charanpreet, thank you. You're right. There's more to the URL. No, Praveen. Look at it. Everything that you need is here. Look at your base URL wasn't absolute. See something here? And look at this base URL. Look at this base URL. Now you should be able to see the difference. It is all in the way you look at things, team, and identify that. Do you see that? Square brackets was additional. How did it come? My typo. I'm a human. While quickly trying to do something, I messed up somewhere, right? You don't have eyes all across the entire retina of your display. That's the reason. Now let's try and rerun and see if it's correct. So it should hopefully go to the home page. Start from there. Click on sign on and get started. So there you go. It clicked, waited, typed, clicked on sign on, and it has come here. Now, ideally, I'm supposed to add this here, right? So what I'll do is quickly, I'll go here now and add this command. What is the command? Verify text, right? Present. And where is it? Select, and I'll do this. Oops. Select. What happened? Select. CSS equals B. So it has given me the uh, just the element identifier, which is CSS equals B. What does that mean, team? The CSS, the cascading style sheet coded behind this has the property B, B for bold. So if you go and inspect element, you will see that it is tagged as B, right? That is the reason. But username and password also is right, but username and password is not the first one. So, sorry, this is the first one which is tagged as B, right? That is what it is all about. So now, hopefully, this is also done, and we will rerun this test and see if all this works. So now, Joe, I'm going to answer few quick questions of some of the participants who've asked something, and then we'll go forward. So verify text present. What happened to this? Let's see. False. It is not there. Why? Let's see. This command is deprecated using verify text. Sorry, verify text is what we will do then, and do a run a little more faster. Hopefully it should run. So you should interact with the display that is coming. This logic of working with anything team is the same, be it with Eclipse, be it with core Java, be it with any other automation tool. How do you see what is happening and be able to relate to what is going right, what is going wrong, if you need to make any changes? Okay, execution is still happening. It is clicked on it and it is waiting on it. It says, see, waiting for my page. Why? My internet could be slow. I'm not sure if my voice is choppy, but it waited enough, so it didn't run. Would rerun this test. There you go. Now it's gone. CSS equals to B. So it says element not found now. Element not found now. Oh, it didn't click on sign on. That's why. Anyway, team, this is a good exercise for us to come back and see what happened. It has not yet gone to the next page. Oh, it's still connecting. See, and that's the reason you should use click and wait, because it's clicked, but immediately after that it's trying to verify. You got to click and wait, correct? So we will change it to click and wait, so we know that when we come back tomorrow, that this is what we will execute. All right, team. So execution of test case is pending, but you're getting the idea how we try to develop things. Now stage 2, which will start tomorrow, is take a sample code of something like this and start putting it directly into our Eclipse, into a new project that we'll create in core Java, and we'll work with it. Now, so some of the members have asked a question saying that they're a little confused and so on. The reason is very simple. This course started last Monday. On last Monday, I had requested everyone that you should spend time in going through some of the most important tutorials. If you've not gone through it, you are missing most part of what is happening today. And that is obvious. What are the tutorials that I've asked you to watch? So if you go here to ITeLearn, uh, go under live trainings and to the last place, Selenium IDE core Java WebDriver. Right, this is the URL that I've asked everyone to watch. For all members, this is accessible. Very, very neat, easy tutorials for you to go step by step to learn some of the most important aspects, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Okay, and once you've done this, most of what you've done is easy. However, even if you have not done it, I am still kind of giving an overview, quick summary of what that is all about. All right, team. Sorry, my printer started. It started printing something. I don't know who gave the command in the house. So that's the reason. So you will need to spend time and then get here. Now, what is going to happen to some of you who have gone through it? You're all covered because this is how we're continuing. We will slowly add to each other. Make sure that you have the basic skills ready to work in the project next week. Anyone who has not attended this week's training will not be able to participate in the live project that will start next week. Okay, this training this week is very critical for everyone to attend and participate, because you should not get into a team atmosphere next week and all your team members realizing that you have very, very little skill. Okay, because your involvement will be important. That project will give you a great platform to launch yourself. What else, team? Any other question? What version of Eclipse we should download in Mac? I don't know. I'm using whatever. Oh, Eclipse. Okay. Eclipse I have downloaded. Which version? I don't think it's a new one. It's a pretty old one itself. You can use the same one. Kepler is what I have. So I think that should be fine. Or the latest. You can go to Eclipse, search for Eclipse, and download whatever you find from there. Right. This is some robotium tests. Okay. What else, team? I can see the same website in UK, a bit different. Wow, I'm not sure, Muzamil UK, why it's showing differently, but as long as it has the content, nothing is broken down, and you're able to watch it. Alemu, your question: is it possible to follow on cell phone if I have to? So what we have done with this GoToWebinar, the good thing is you can log in from a cell phone, mobile device, smartphone, your tablets, and so on. That is the reason I moved specifically to GoToWebinar, also to be able to accommodate a larger audience. GoToTraining has typically a limit of 200 participants. GoToWebinar does not have that limit. It's over 500. This week, Thursday, I'll not be able to attend, but we'll go through recorded. So, team, again, by default, I am not monitoring who's attending, who's not. It is your responsibility. You have to do that motivation to yourself. Make sure you attend. If you don't attend, I understand. Sometimes we have reasons that you may not be there. At that time, please make sure that you watch the video. Every video that you'll see, team, will be hosted in the page that is shown. Selenium, not here. Live trainings, advanced Selenium training. I think this is where we're putting it. So all the videos that you see will get hosted here. So the day one video which we did, orientation, is here. This video will also get onto here. In VTs, I saw using Ant build tool. Is it necessary as part of a project next week? So Jyoti, you may not have too much time in your project. There are things that I will say as part of the project that you must do. Then there are other things which is good to have. So the mandatory things you cannot miss, but the optional things, that is fine. Okay, so that's how you should work with your team and plan, because sometimes some of these projects, most of the project that we will do will be time bound. Will you cover TestNG as well? Not really. Either one is the same, TestNG or JUnit. Very subtle difference. But instead of me covering it, if you go to the catalog of video tutorials that you get, TestNG is covered extensively under Selenium videos. So you can use that. All right, team, thank you so much. I know it's over an hour, but hopefully most of your questions, everything got answered. Manoj, I know you there. Sorry, I could not really introduce you to the team at the beginning. But what we will do is, as we get along in the future sessions and as we get closer to the project, your participation will become very key for us. In fact, we will look at and see if Vishal also could join us. when will you divide into the teams? So teams will get divided by mid of this week. So you can continue to work independently. Master software testing members, you can continue to work with your team. You will only see a few members getting added to your team for this Selenium project, and a few more new teams getting created depending on the overall size. Manoj has already created the teams, but I think the distribution has not been announced yet. Pranita, I'm taking your last question and then hang him. After finishing this training, with how much experience I can go for new job in Selenium? Pranita, you tell me after you do it. I personally believe uh, if you finish this training, spend about a month or two, you are as good as someone who spent 2 years on Selenium here and there. All right. Just because the coverage, the kind of tutorials we do, and the level of depth and the kind of automation and everything that we get into. Okay. Um, Tirupati, your question is does not make sense. In those TestNG videos, Selenium RC server was used, not WebDriver. Does not matter. TestNG and JUnit, RC and WebDriver are absolutely four different things. Okay, they're different versions, but it doesn't matter if you learn TestNG and RC or TestNG and WebDriver. You should learn TestNG. You should learn JUnit. You should learn RC. You should learn WebDriver. That's what it is. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you then for attending. Once again, appreciate all of you joining. Please note, team, I cannot be able to repeat this. Your sessions will continue using the same link going forward. There'll be no change to that, hopefully. However, only the non paid participants will get a cancellation of this session. If you're a paid participant and you got a cancellation of the session following this in the next 24 hours, that means there's an error. Please contact our help team on online live chat or on email immediately to get that fixed if it gets cancelled. If you're a non-paid member, you have time till tomorrow. Please use that time to make the payment and get onto the session. There is no other option beyond this for this batch at least. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for attending. Um, Stay on. You'll see what results we will achieve together at the end. Thank you all. We'll see you back tomorrow then. Bye now. Thanks a lot.